Hi folks, Florida Man here again. So you made it through 1901 alive, eh? If things started off well, good. All according to plan. If not, no worries. As long as you're still alive, all things are possible, especially for that marvelous country we call Russia. I'll start off with what to do if you had a successful first year. If you've allied yourself with Turkey or Austria, it's at this point that the two of you, assuming your comrade hasn't already betrayed you, begin attacking the odd man out. Or begin attacking in earnest at least. No matter who you're allied with, you want to get Italy involved. His growth will provide you with another potential ally later, in case you and your current ally break up for some reason. Now, I should note, is not usually the time to stab your ally. If you're allied with Turkey, you probably have units in Galicia and Romania by now, and you're trying to break into Budapest and Vienna. The rest of the gains in the Balkans will likely go to Italy and/or Turkey, and if you're working with both of them, you can reasonably ask for Budapest and probably Vienna, but not more. One of your allies will certainly want each of Serbia, Greece, and Trieste, and once that issue is settled, there are gonna be some regional tensions. More, I think, on how to deal with that in the next video. If you're allied with Austria, you probably have a unit in Romania and one in Ukraine and/or Sevastopol. If you've been clever or tricky, you also have units in Armenia or the Black Sea. If Italy is on board, as he hopefully is if you're actually trying to fight Turkey as Russia, he is setting himself up at this point for a Lepanto of some sort, and should hopefully be positioned to break into Smyrna by next year. You and Austria should be able to break into Bulgaria, and if nobody betrays anybody, the widely praised Turkish defenses should quickly fall. If you're allied with Austria, and Italy is going west, or not helping for whatever reason, you and your ally will still best Turkey, but it will take a bit longer. You may need to let Austria have Bulgaria, but if you and Austria do unite against Turkey, make sure you at least get 2 Turkish centers. Otherwise, it's kind of just a bad deal for you. Of course, the real problem is if you're fighting Turkey and Italy is, for some reason, actively on his side. If this is the case, Italy is likely either a beginner who is being pulled into this due to naivete, or a more experienced player who just wants to make sure that he can cut Austria down after Turkey falls. Either way, you need to get yourself on the same page with Italy. Reassure him that you'll work with him against Austria once Turkey is gone. You need to either get Italy to let you and Austria finish Turkey, or you need to switch sides and rehabilitate your relationship with Turkey so the three of you can eliminate Austria. You really can't afford for the war in the East to last that long. You need to be able to go west to have a chance at getting the solo, before the Western powers have settled their own differences. Speaking of the West, I hope you've gotten a good feel for what's going on in the West. After getting your house in order in the East, you need to focus your diplomatic attention there next. That's code for meddling in other countries' affairs. The ideal for Russia is to keep the West infighting and chaotic for as long as possible. A second best result is to make sure England and Germany are at least divided. If they're not, they could crush France and then come after you. The third best result is to make sure France is strong enough to slow them down. Italy is important here. Just making sure he doesn't head west can be enough to add extra years onto a war between France and his neighbors. The worst case scenario for Russia in the West, in my opinion, is a Western Triple. Because if that alliance emerges, you will be its first target by necessity. Even though the Western Triple is a highly unstable alliance, it can wreck your game while it lasts, causing you to lose some home centers and ruining your chances for victory. Of course, if you and Germany made an agreement to attack England together in 1901, you don't have to worry about any of these possible worst-case scenario possibilities. England and Germany are divided, you're friendly with Germany, and you're gaining northern centers. All is right with the world. Unless Germany betrays you, in which case you try to get England and/or France on your side. But let's go back south. We haven't gotten into what could go wrong there yet. That's where your fate will really be decided, because, barring some very unusual circumstances, you can only get really a maximum of 3 or 4 centers in the north as Russia. And that's, if you're lucky, usually you just get Sweden. Your worst case scenario in the south is that Austria and Turkey have formed a strong alliance, and they are attacking you. If you made the decision to send forces north, an Austrian-Turkish alliance in the south becomes even more dangerous for you. If they began by attacking you, and you didn't expect it or prepare for it, you may have even lost a home center or two. That would usually only happen, frankly, if you made some objectively bad decisions in spring and fall 1901, but if that happened and you lost maybe half of your home centers, there are good odds that you're finished. If they're attacking you together, though, and they've only gained Romania and maybe Sevastopol, that's not ideal, but it's not necessarily a huge crisis either. As long as you've kept Germany from getting involved, you may be able to hold them off indefinitely. If you can get Germany and or Italy to attack Austria or Turkey, that could be even better. If so, though, you should make sure to nudge France or England and get them worried about how quickly Germany or Italy is expanding. Make it clear there's nothing you can do about that now, of course. Given your position, you won't have to do much persuading about that. It's just useful to put the seed in their minds that maybe this player might be someone I need to worry about. That sows more chaos in the West, and hopefully in the future it will end up being to your advantage. If Austria and Turkey have you cornered and are no longer doing much of anything to successfully attack you, that's an okay place to be. Now you have to start talking to each of them separately, trying to undermine their alliance. Point out how badly things are going. Suggest that their partner might be interested in stabbing them because of how slowly they're progressing against you. Promise them loyalty and plunder if they turn on their partner and help you get Sevastopol back. In other words, say whatever you have to say in order to turn Austria and Turkey against each other, because it's going to be very hard for you to beat that combination if they are still united. If that doesn't work, you probably have to just keep defending and trying to persuade them, and trying to persuade the other powers to attack them for as long as you can. You have to make lucky guesses about what they're going to do, and defend to the best of your ability, using the natural advantages of your terrain, such as they are. In the unlikely event that you find another place to expand, which is probably just going to be in the north, I suggest you take the opportunity if you think it's safe. If you think it will not endanger you at home. It seems unlikely that you'll grow in this situation, though it's always possible that you'll have some Scandinavian success, courtesy of Germany. Now you see why it's so important to find a loyal partner in 1901. If you don't, best case scenario is that you're left stranded. Worst case is you totally disappear. Tune in next week for the thrilling next chapter as we get into the mid-game.